Hello everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog and welcome to another movie news roundup. So we only got one bit of movie news this week, but it's a very big movie news as it will affect the movie industry in the long run. But before we get into that, here are a few words from the channel. Hey guys, if you want to check out more content from this channel, then tune in every Sunday and Monday for new videos. And if you happen to see any videos posted up during the week, that means that there was a bit of movie and TV news that I wanted to talk about, so those will be considered special videos. And if you want to chat with me on social media or see when new videos are being released, then follow me through Twitter and Facebook. And also, please feel free to join the new Facebook group, Rabbitearsblog Reviews 2.0, where we talk about movies, TV shows, and video games with other fans of the genres. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So in this week's movie news, Warner Brothers will be sending all of their 2021 movies to their streaming service HBO Max, as well as showing the movies in theaters on the same day. These movies include Wonder Woman 1984, which will be premiering this year, Dune, Tom and Jerry, and Godzilla vs. Kong. Now let's go into thoughts for the day where I talk about my opinions about this week's movie news. So when I first heard about this news about Warner Brothers moving all of their 2021 films onto the streaming service HBO Max while still airing their movies in theaters on the same day, I will admit that I was a bit shocked by this news. I mean, sure, the coronavirus is going on. This is the reason why Warner Brothers is doing this, because theaters are closing down because of the result of the coronavirus, and Warner Bros. Got to make their money back somehow. But I still find it surprising that Warner Bros. Is moving all their major movies in 2021 to their streaming service HBO Max, while it's still giving viewers a chance to watch the movies in theaters if they don't feel comfortable about watching the movies on streaming services. So instead of talking about this all in one time, I decided to break this topic into pros and cons. So let's get started. So pro number one is that these movies are still being shown in theaters. Even though they'll also be streaming on HBO Max on the same day that they will be shown in theaters, for anybody who doesn't want to watch these movies on streaming services, you have the option to watch these movies in theaters, and you can still get the same cinematic experience you get with movie theaters once these movies start airing in theaters at the same day. So at least theaters will still be open even when these movies are being moved to streaming services. It just all comes down to what you want to do. If you want to watch these movies through streaming services, or if you want to watch these movies in theaters, you could do either one, whichever option is good for you. The second pro to this is that now you have more options to watch these movies. In the past, I often have trouble trying to watch a lot of the newer movies in theaters because I just didn't have enough funds to watch every movie that's being released in theaters. So at least with this option, with these major movies being released through streaming services, I can actually still watch these newer movies without having to leave my home to do so. And also, these movies can stay on streaming services for a while, so if I did miss a movie that day, it would still remain in streaming services for a while, so I could watch that movie the next day if I wasn't able to watch that movie on the day that it's released. So that's the one good thing about these movies being released on streaming services, is that now I have more time to watch these movies, and I don't have to worry about missing out on these movies if I can't watch them in theaters. Now let's go into the cons. So the first con is the impact it might have on movie theaters in the near future. So there's been a lot of talk about whether or not this decision that Warner Brothers have for moving all their major films into the streaming service HBO Max will have a negative effect on movie theaters in the near future, and whether or not this will render movie theaters obsolete in the near future. Well, at the moment it's kind of too early to tell if this is going to be the case or not. But I will say this, that if everybody is more used to having these movies be streamed into streaming services instead of going to movie theaters, then this could have a negative impact on movie theaters in the near future, as everybody would be more keen to watching movies at home instead of going out to watch movies in theaters. And so I think that if movie theaters want to stay in business during this growing digital age, I think they need to find some way to keep up with the streaming services and be able to find ways to satisfy the audience who want to go out and watch movies, but they have to do it digitally or something like that. Like, I'm not 100% sure about how movie theaters can go about this, but I do think that movie theaters will have to change in the near future for the growing digital age that we're entering now. Another con to this is that the prices of streaming services could be on the rise. The reason why I say this is because movies are crazy expensive to make, and the movie studios have to figure out some way to make money off of these movies while still giving these big blockbuster hits the special effects and the filming scenes they need to make these movies a huge success. So say that movie theaters do become obsolete. I know you guys don't want to hear that, I'm sorry, but say that was a possibility. and streaming services become the next big things for movies to go on to. Well, that would mean that the movie studios would have to increase the prices of streaming services just to make up for the costs of them making these movies. Because again, these movies cost like billions of dollars to make or millions of dollars to make. And if you're going to try to make all that money back, you're going to have to raise the prices with the streaming services to make up for it. And that could be problematic for a lot of people who can't afford to buy all these streaming services to watch all these movies. So that's something that will have to be looked into, is will the prices of streaming services be raised up as a result of all these major blockbuster films being released to streaming services, and will affect the viewership for many people, and will many people be able to afford all of these streaming services just to watch these big movies? I guess we'll have to wait and see when that happens. And finally, the last con of this is that it's a bit limited. That means that if you don't have HBO Max, there's a chance you won't be able to watch these major blockbuster films. And there's already the issue about how some of the international countries can't watch these films because they don't have HBO Max. So because these streaming services are limited at the moment, a lot of people can't really watch these films unless you were subscribed to that streaming service, or if that streaming service was available in your country. So that's going to be an issue they have to deal with, is how's this going to affect the movie industry on an international scale if a lot of international countries can't get these streaming services to watch these movies. I think that's something they're going to have to take into consideration when this happens. Another bad thing about having movies being put on streaming services is that you end up missing out on the cinematic experience. Like, if you like to go to movie theaters and you like to watch these movies on the big screen and you like to see the general audience reaction to this movie, you're not going to really get that if you were watching a movie in your own home or on a smaller screen. Sure, your family members are going to be like screaming and being excited about the movie just like a general audience would, but if you wanted to see like the general audience reaction to the specific movie, you're not going to really get that at home, because either you'll be by yourself or you'll only be with a small group of people. And so I will admit that if this thing does become a reality, I will miss the cinematic viewing experience of just seeing the audience reaction to the movie, as well as seeing the movie on the big screen. So those are my thoughts about this week's movie news, and tell me in the comments down below, what do you think about this week's movie news? Do you think this is actually a good thing for moviegoers, especially for moviegoers who couldn't go to movie theaters in the past? Now they have a chance to watch these big films on streaming services that they actually could own? Or do you think that this could be a bad thing and that will lead to the movie industry collapsing because a lot of people don't have access to these streaming services to watch these big movies? And do you think the movie theaters will eventually bounce back anyway, whether it would be through doing something new with their setup or just remain the same as they always have for all these decades? Please feel free to comment down below. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, like this video? Then please feel free to hit that like button. And also, hit that subscribe button for more content about video games, movies, and TV shows from this channel. And now, let's roll the credits, please.